Hello friends, in this video we are going to solve question 2 and question 3 of the exercise 14.2 chapter factorization. In the previous videos we have solved 14.1 and 14.2 question 1. So without wasting time, let's start the first question. So in this video we have to use, in this question in fact we have to use a formula a square minus b square is equal to a plus b, a minus b. So now many times students get confused, when do we have to use this formula? For example, in the first question now, 4p square minus 9q square. Try to understand the difference between 9 and q. 9 and q for me both look the same, near about, okay. So when do we use this formula a square minus b square? It's very easy to understand. See, what is the formula? A square minus b square. So when you have two squares and there is negative sign between them, at that time the answer is just add the numbers whose squares are there and subtract the same numbers in another bracket. So a square minus b square is written as a plus b, a minus b. So now very common mistake which the most students make, they write this as, okay, if you have to do a plus b, a minus b, then it is 4p plus 9q, 4p minus 9q. This is what many students do and this is wrong. We have to see whose square is this 4p square. We know it is square of 4 is the square of 2 and p square is the square of p only. So it is 2p whole square we have to write. Another common mistake was the students write, they write it like this, 2p square. And this is wrong because now the square is of 2 only, not of, the square is of p only, not of 2. So this is wrong. So again, and for this 9q square, we have to write this as 3q whole square. Now we can use this formula, a square minus b square is equal to a plus b, a minus b. So now what we do, we see whose squares are there, okay. How to use this formula? See the squares and there is negative sign between them. So the numbers whose squares are there, you put those numbers in one bracket with positive sign and in another bracket with negative sign. So here the squares were of 2p and 3q and there was negative sign in between them. So what you do? You just put that 2p and 3q with plus sign in one bracket and 2p and 3q with minus sign in another bracket. So this is our answer. So simple. First we are going to solve the third question now and then we will solve the second one also, because third one is similar to this. So first understand few simple questions, then we will do a little bit of different one. The second one is a little bit of different question. So 49x square minus 36. Again we have to first identify whether we can use this formula a square minus b square. We can use this formula only when there are two squares and there is negative sign in between them. So we have to check whether this is a square of any number. Yes, it is square of 7x, and similarly this is a square of 6. So you see there are two squares and there is negative sign in between them. So we have to use this formula. And what is the answer then? You just add the numbers whose squares are given. Add the numbers in one bracket and subtract the numbers in another bracket. That's it. This is the final answer for the question number 3. Now we will solve again. We are going to solve question number. We have done question 1, question 3. Now we are going to solve question number 6. So question 6, 9x square y square minus 16. We are taking similar questions first, okay. So again we have to check whether I can use this formula. For that we need two squares with negative sign between them. So we know that 9 is square of 3, x square is square of x, y square is square of y, That means it is a square of 3xy and 16 is a square of 4. So we have two squares with negative sign in between them. So the terms whose squares are there, we will write those terms with positive sign in one bracket, a plus b, and negative sign in another bracket, a minus b. So whose squares were there? 3xy and 4. So I will write 3xy and 4 with positive sign in one bracket and 3xy and 4 with negative sign in another bracket. So that's a very simple question, I think. So now we'll solve question number 2 finally. Okay, so move on to question number 2 now. It is 63a square minus 112b square. Now the problem is 63 is not a perfect square and so also 112 is also not a perfect square. So now what we do, we have to find what can I take common from these two numbers 63 and 112 so that the remaining numbers will be perfect square. So for that we need to remember a few tables also, right? So I am going to write 63 as 7 nines a square as it is, and this will be 16, oh no, not 16, 7 times of 16, yes, 7 times of 16 b square. So I can write 63 as 7 nines and 112 as 16 sevens. So now what can I take common from these two terms? You can see one thing there is common, which is 7. So if I take 7 common here, now what remains in the bracket? How to take common we have seen in the first video of this chapter, right? 14.1, when we solved 14.1, at that time we have seen how to take common. So if any of you have not gone through that video, I would request you to please go through those videos also. Carefully look at all the videos and then you will be easily able to solve all the questions, I am quite sure. So then if you take 7 common, what remains in the bracket is 9a square here in the first term, then minus is there and then 16b square. Now if you forget about this 7, you can easily solve this question now. Now you know that 9 is a square of 3, a square is a square of a, and minus 16 is square of 4 and b square is a square of b. So you can write this 9a square minus 16b square as 3a square minus 4b square. Now I can use this formula. How to use the formula? What we do? When we use the formula a square minus b square, when do we use it? Only when there are two terms whose squares are there and there is negative in between them. At that time what we do? We write those terms with positive sign in one bracket and negative in another bracket. So I will keep that 7 as it is. Now whose squares are here? 3a square and 4b square. So I am going to write 3a and 4b with plus sign in one bracket and minus sign in another bracket. So this is the final answer for this question. So what was different in this question? The only thing which was different was, first we had to take something common. We took 7 common, and then the question was very similar to the last 3 questions which we have already solved. I hope you have understood the question. So now let's move on to solve next question. So now we have solved question 1, 2, 3 and 7. So we will be solving question 4 now. Okay, question number 4. 16x raised to 5 minus 144x raised to 3. Again, you can solve it by different ways. Okay. So first thing what you can do, you know that 16 is a square, no problem, and 144 is also square, no problem. But x raised to 5, this is power 5, it's not a square. Similarly here it is x raised to 3, it is also not a square. In the last video we have seen, that is last video means when we have solved, where we have solved 14.1. okay. In that video, first video of this chapter, we have seen how to take common for these type of questions. If it is x raised to 98 minus x raised to 90, what to do? take minimum power common. So what is the minimum power here? 90. So when you take x raised to 90 common, many students, what will they do? They will write this as no. Now in the first term it was x raised to 98. So now we have taken x raised to 90 common, so x raised to 8 will remain, and this is the final answer. Many students will do it like this. But there is second term also. What remains in the second term? Nothing, because x raised to 90 is taken common. But what was the coefficient here? It was 1. So this should be our final answer. So this is how we take common between x. So now here it is x raised to 5 and x raised to 3 in the second term. So we take minimum power common. So I take x raised to 3 common. So what remains? I am going to take only, I am thinking only about x at the moment. Okay, forget about 16 and 144. So what remains here is, there were 5x in the first term. We have taken 3 common. So x square is going to remain here. And there will be no x in the second term. Now, can I also take a number common? Yes. 16 and 144. What is the greatest common divisor in both of them? They can be divided by 1. Both of them can be divided by 2. Both of them can be divided by 4. Both of them can be divided by 8. And both of them can be divided by 16 also. So greatest common divisor is 16. So I can use the formula 16 times of 1 with x raised to 5 as it is. 16 times of 9 is 144 with x raised to 3 as it is. So now I can take 16 also common from the first two terms. First term, second term. I am going to take 16 also common along with the minimum power of x. So 16 x raised to power 3 I have taken common. So now what remains? Here 1 remains. Even if you don't write 1, it's okay. Out of the 5x we have taken 3 common. So x square will remain here and it will be 9 only here. There won't be any x here, right? Because there were 3x and we have taken x cube common. So now you can easily solve this one bracket. We can write this as, you need to understand that we have to use this formula now, because there are two squares and there is negative sign in between them. So you can do them as a plus b and a minus b. We can write the first term x square as 1x whole square. Even if you don't write that 1, it's okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, you can only write x square also, no problem. And you have to write this as square of 3. Now see, there are two squares with negative sign in between them. So the final answer will be, you have to add the two terms in one bracket and subtract in another bracket. So this will be our final answer. I hope you have understood the question. So let's move on to solve now question number 5. So it is looking a little bit of different question 5. So L plus m whole square minus L minus m whole square. We will solve this by 2 methods. In the second video of this chapter, we have used the formula a plus b whole square and a minus b whole square. So we can solve this question by using these two formulas also, a square minus 2ab plus b square for a minus b whole square. So I can use the first formula for this, L plus m whole square, right? In place of L plus m whole square, I can use the formula for L plus m whole square, I can use the formula a plus b whole square. I will write L in place of A and M in place of B. So my answer will be L square plus 2LM plus M square. Similarly, for the second bracket, L minus M whole square, I can use this formula A minus B whole square. I just have to put L in place of A in this formula and M in place of B. So it will be L square minus 2LM plus M square. Now when I take off the brackets, what is the sign? In front of the first bracket there is no sign, that means it's positive. So when I take out the brackets, all the signs will remain as they are in the first bracket, but there is negative sign in front of the second. So I have to change the sign of all the terms in the second bracket when I take out the bracket. What was the sign of the first term here? L square. I don't see any sign there. That means it was positive. So it will be negative. This minus 2lm will become plus and this plus m square will become minus. Now we can solve the like terms if there are any. So this is plus L square and this is minus L square, so they will get cancelled. Similarly, plus M square minus M square also get cancelled. So now what remains? Plus 2lm plus 2lm. So we get the answer as plus 4lm. So this is one method by which we can solve this question. You can take one screenshot. We will solve this same question by a different method. We'll use the formula a square minus b square, okay, and then we'll solve this question again. So let's solve this question by using a different formula. We are going to use this formula a square minus b square equal to a plus b, a minus b. When can we use this formula? We need to understand that only first. So if there are two terms whose squares are there and there is a negative sign in between them, then what you do, you just add them in one bracket and subtract in another. So now you can just imagine this first bracket as a square and second bracket as b square, then you just have to add them in one bracket and subtract in another because there are two squares and negative sign is between them. So what I am going to do, my A is L plus M bracket and B is L minus M bracket. So what I am going to do, I am going to add the two terms. See, I have written two brackets. I am going to add them in one bracket and I am going to subtract them in another bracket. So see, I have added them in one bracket and subtracted in another. So now when I take out the inner brackets of in the first bracket, I won't be changing the sign as there is positive in front of this bracket. So the inner signs will remain as they are. So it will be plus m and minus 5. Same signs. Now when I remove the inner brackets of the second bracket, this big second bracket, what is the sign in front of the first bracket? It is positive. So the inner signs will remain as they are, plus L plus M. But in front of the second bracket there is negative, so I have to change the sign of both the terms. So plus L will become minus and minus M will become plus. So now I have to solve the like terms if there are any. So minus m plus m gets cancelled in the first bracket, minus L plus L gets cancelled in the second bracket. So what remains in the first bracket is L plus L, 2L, and what remains in the second bracket is M plus M, 2M. So 2 times of 2, 2 2s are 4, L into M is LM. So see, you get the same answer by solving by this method also. So you can solve this question by both the methods. I hope you have understood the question. If you have any doubts, you can go to the comment section and please you can comment there. Also, if you like the video, if you like the method, please go to the comment box and make the comments. I am waiting for them. Okay, friends. So question number 7. It's looking a little bit different. This type of question we have solved only this, okay? It was not minus z square in the second video. In the second video, we have seen how to factorize these type of questions, okay? So let's first think about this, then we will think about what to do about this z square. So now we are going to factorize this using formula only, okay? You can just imagine this as, do you think that we can use this formula? A square minus 2ab plus b square is a minus b whole square. If a square minus 2ab plus b square is a minus b whole square, then can we write this x square minus 2xy plus y square as x minus y whole square? This minus z square will remain as it is. See, it's very simple. Just use the same logic. Now we have to use the formula of a square minus b square. There are two squares with negative sign in between them. Then what you do? You add them in one bracket and subtract them in another bracket. So now you see there are two squares with negative sign in between them. So what you do? You just add the two terms x minus y and z in one bracket and subtract them in another bracket, x minus y minus z in another bracket. So this is your final answer, friends. X minus y plus z, x minus y minus z. If you want, you can just remove the inner brackets. Signs are not going to change as it was plus here in front of the first bracket. Okay. And when you solve the second bracket also, x minus y, there is only z, no need to change the sign. Only one term is there. So this is your final answer, friends, for this question. So now we move on to solve the last question of question 2, and then we will see how to solve question 3. So the last question of question 2, question number 8, very important question. This question comes a lot of times in exam. Okay, 25a square minus 4b square plus 28bc minus 49c square. Many students get confused while solving this question. It is little bit similar to the last question 7 which we solved. Okay, so here it's very important to look at the variables. It's a square, b square, bc and c square. So these three terms have b square, bc and c square. So one very important thing to remember always is when you use the formula a plus b whole square, the formula is a square plus 2ab plus b square, and if you use the formula a minus b whole square, formula is a square minus 2ab plus b square. One thing which is very important to understand in these two formulas is the square terms are always positive. Even if you use any formula, see the square terms are always positive. This middle term might be negative if you use the formula a minus b whole square, but the square terms are always positive when you use these formulas. But if you just, I am going to erase the first term here so that it becomes easier for you to understand for a moment. Okay. Now if you look at these three terms, you can see the square terms are negative here. So what you have to do, you have to take negative common so that the signs will change for all the three terms. See, I am changing the signs of all the three terms. See, I have changed the sign of all. This minus 4b square became plus, minus 28 became plus, oh sorry, plus 28 became minus, and minus 49 became plus. First term I am going to write as it was. First term was 25a square. We will see what to do about this 25a square later on. Okay. Now we have solved this type of question in the second video of this chapter. So let's see how we can factorize this. So, can I use this first formula or second formula? I cannot use the first formula because in the first formula 2ab is positive. But I can use the second formula because here 2ab is negative and here also the middle term is negative. So how do I solve this question? I have to check whether the first number is a square of any number. If any of you have not gone through the second video, I would request you to please go through the second video so that you will be easily able to understand this question. Okay, we have solved few questions of this type. So I will check this 4b square is a square of which term? So it is a square of 2b square. Then is this last term a square of any number? Yes, it is a square of 7c. And if you multiply these two terms by 2, give the sign of middle term as it is, and if you multiply these two terms by 2, do you get the middle term? 7 2s are 14, 14 2s are 28, BC, yes, I get the middle term. That means I can write this as, so I am going to write the formula now. I can write this as a square minus 2ab plus b square as a minus b whole square. So see, in front, instead of a square, in place of a square, what is there in this question? It is 2b square. And in place of b square in this question, what is the term that we have? It is 7c square. So we have to put the answer a minus b whole square here. I am writing this 25a square as it is, and I will write this a minus b whole square is the answer. So in place of a, I have to write 2b here, and in place of b, I have to write 7c here. So 2b minus 7c whole square. Now last 2-3 steps are remaining. I can write this as 5a whole square, 25a square, and this bracket as it is. Now I am sure you can guess what to do further. So now there are two squares with negative sign in between them. That means you have to use this formula. If there are two squares with negative sign in between them, then you have to add them in one bracket and subtract them in another bracket. So then the squares are of 5a and this bracket. So what you do, you just put 5a and 2b minus 7c in one bracket with positive sign in between them, and 5a and 2b minus 7,6 with negative sign in between them in another bracket. Now if you take out these brackets, what will happen? Nothing will happen in the first bracket as there is positive sign in front of the bracket. So whatever signs are there inside, they will remain the same. But when you solve the second bracket, there is negative sign in front of it. So all the signs inside should change. So this plus 2b will become minus and minus 7c will become plus. So this is our final answer, friends, for this question. I hope you have understood this question. Let's just have a look at this question once, so that you don't have any confusion, and if you want, you can just take the screenshot of it. I will just reduce the size a little bit more. Yes, I think you can see it now. I hope you have understood all the questions in this video. We have solved, friends, question number 2 only. In the next video, we will see how to solve question 3 also. So if you like the video, if you like the method, then please subscribe to the channel and share with your friends also, and don't forget to press the bell icon so that you will be notified when I publish my next video. I am publishing the videos at least 2 or 3 in a week, so don't forget to press the bell icon. See you soon in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.